Okay, there we go. Well, thanks for jumping on tonight, you guys. I appreciate you taking the time when it's summer, and I know you could be doing so many other things, so thank you for coming on. First of all, just a reminder again, today being the 18th, the last 2 subscriptions of the month are going to go out on the 20th and 25th. So again, you have to make sure that you let your subscribers know at least 48 hours beforehand that they can upgrade to the Vitality Stack and get that free True Science Cream. Everyone that I've talked to that has made that decision has been so grateful that I've let them know about that. So please make sure you do that. I also posted on Team Act today a sample text voicemail that Des Mamet has been using for her customers. And I used that same thing today. I just copy and pasted it and sent that via Facebook Messenger and via text to a bunch of my customers today as well. Okay, so let's get right down to it. Make sure everybody's muted. So we have Colleen Holtz on, and Colleen went to the LBA in Twin Falls in Idaho this past weekend and brought her newest distributor. So Colleen is going to introduce her new distributor, and then she will be sharing a couple of her takeaways from the LBA that she attended in Twin Falls with Sam Flake. So Colleen, go ahead, sweetie.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
So Tish and I are being very supportive wives. We're down at the boys' softball game, and you know, if you look around, look at it looks like it's going to thunderstorm. So if Tish and I start running for our lives, it's thundering. So Tish, I have met Tish through softball. Her husband and my husband play together, and I've been talking to her about LifeVantage for about a year, and this last couple months she got real interested and wanted to know. She's very health-minded, and wanted to know a little bit more about it. And then lo and behold, she was like, I really think this is a good thing that I can maybe do as a business. And she prayed about it her whole way home from St. George. And lo and behold, when she was praying, guess what she saw on the side of the road? LifeVantage. And she said, I just knew that I was supposed to be doing it. So I want to welcome Tish Wilson, and she's going to talk a little bit about her first LVA that she went to with us in Twin Falls. So Tish Wilson, everybody.
Hi. I really enjoyed Twin Falls. I enjoyed the meeting so much. I thought it was well worth the time and the effort to get there. I thought the speaker was super good. He's super knowledgeable, and I loved like the practical boots on the ground day-to-day tips that he gave as far as things that were helpful with just everyday stuff that you need to do for success. And I just thought I thought it was all super good and well worth it. And I'm actually looking forward to going again. But my favorite part that I really enjoyed was the whys. He had us write down the whys of you know, that we wanted to get in LifeVantage, and just write those things down. And it was so helpful to me because I'd never really thought about it. And as I was writing them down, I thought, you know, every why that I wrote down is about freedom. It's about wanting to be free in my body and free in my finances, and just help other people be free. And so I thought, you know, that's awesome, because to me, that's what LifeVantage is. It's that freedom. And I think because I'm a person of faith, that we're all created for 2 reasons only, and that is to build God's kingdom and to build and be a blessing to our families and others. And I love that about LifeVantage too, because LifeVantage, through the product, it helps you to be free in your body so that you have health to be a blessing to yourself and your family. Because if you're not healthy, sorry, the wind is blowing right in my face, so my eyes are watering. But if you're not healthy, you don't have the energy to show up for your family and, you know, for your faith, and to be a blessing to God's kingdom and your family. And it helps you to also, you know, just have freedom in your finances for all those things. So I love the fact, to me, that he really had us hone in and say, you know, begin every day to look at your whys and to remind yourself, you know, because it motivates you to move forward when the going gets tough. And when you want to quit, or you say this isn't working or whatever, and you look at those whys and you realize this is freedom. You know, if I work this and I stay going, you know, stay motivated, the end goal is freedom. Freedom for me and freedom for those around me. So, yeah, so I loved it.
Good job, Tish. You sounded amazing. I'm so proud of you. I know this is stepping outside your comfort zone. I'm proud of you for going to LVA on a weekend in the summer, and I'm proud of you for saying yes tonight and sharing that with us. You're such a beautiful soul. So I appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
Thank you. When Colleen called me, inside I was like, no.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? It's this good for me to stretch myself and to challenge myself. And so, yeah.
And you're a natural. You're talking in front of all of us like you've been doing this business for months and months, and just spreading a really good message. So all those people that you know, and being able to share this with others is just going to make it even more fun as you go along the road. I just love it. I feel like you've already, like, you're leading the call, I feel like. So nice job. And nice to meet you, Tish. I'm so glad this worked out.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. And it's easier when y'all are on the phone. If you're actually, it might be harder.
Love
Thanks,
it.
lady.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, love ya.
So next, I'm going to introduce my newest distributor. And I know, Tish, that she can relate to how you felt when it comes to your head saying no, but your heart telling you you have to do this if you want to move forward. So my newest distributor is Amy Keene, and she is out of Parker, Colorado. Amy and I went to college together, and she was a big standout basketball player. They won a national championship while she was there. She is an amazing, amazing person, and it's so funny, you guys. I should share this on Team Act, and maybe I did. I think I did. But yeah, Amy was a customer for a while, and then I remember she'd asked me about becoming a distributor, and then it was kind of quiet for a little bit. And then she'd asked me, she wanted to look into doing LifeVantage and then possibly still doing another business that she was a part of. And I was very forward with her, and I said, you can't do both. I'm like, you're going to have to choose one to focus on and then just be a raving fan of the other, be a customer of the other. But don't try to build two businesses. But when she became a team member, I looked back at our messages through Messenger, and they went back to 2011 when I first got in. And shortly after, like beginning of 2012, she sent me this message and said, you know, I'm just really sorry, Tanya, but I've been approached by this stuff lots of times, and I just don't ever see myself ever doing this again. And then here she is tonight. So Amy, Amy has dove all in. She has been so coachable, and I just love feeding off of her energy. And she's already been on a roller coaster, right? Like we all are, being so new to this, but she's going to as much as she can. She went to a mixer on Thursday night, and then she went to LVA and brought a guest on Saturday.
Woo-hoo!
So I know.
Nice job.
So Amy, share with us, sweetie. Tell us some of your takeaways from the weekend.
Well, first of all, thanks, Tanya, for letting me ask the 5,000 questions that I've asked you and sending you multiple voice messages going, oh my God, help me. So thank you for that, because you've been wonderful. And yes, she contacted me in 2012, and the message is so comical. Y'all should see it. It was funny, but for somebody that didn't want to get back in, here I am, and thank God I found the right place. So I went to LVA this weekend, and Dave and Joanne Madison were there, and I apologize. I wrote notes because I don't want to ramble too much. But the first thing I learned was say yes. So I'm practicing by doing this. Camera video is not my specialty necessarily, so doing this is I'm conquering a fear by being on here. So but he just said, you know, just say yes to the opportunity and try and go meet people and do things. And the next thing is to get to the events, because Thursday night's a perfectly good example. I had a roller coaster day on Thursday. I didn't know if I wanted to go, and I made sure that I still went. Best thing I could have done. I met great people. A huge thanks to Miss Sherry. She doesn't know yet, but I'm calling her my LifeVantage mom. She was just wonderful and just gave me tons of hugs and everything else, and was so encouraging. And then going to LVA this weekend and sharing it with my friend Darlene and taking her along with me. You know, just get to the events, because even if you don't feel like going, when you get there, it's such a big supportive crowd and it's a big family and everybody wants you to succeed, that you can't help but feel uplifted. So, and the last point would be one that I'm going to have to really work on, which is whoever talks first loses. I'm a big talker. Like, I'm the person that my friends call if they're tired and they need somebody to talk to them to get them back to the driveway. That's me. So I'm going to practice not trying to fill awkward space with random chatter, and just to let people talk and tell their story. So I have more, but I'm not going to ramble. I'm going to practice that right now.
All right, Amy, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're in Colorado.
Yes, ma'am.
And this was your first LVA you attended.
Yes. The Thursday night was my very first event, and then Saturday was my very first LVA.
And you went all by yourself, or you went and you brought a guest, but you had to get up the nerve and go there, right?
Yes, yes.
That blows my mind. I am so crazy proud of you, because that is so hard. You know, Tanya talking about tonight getting on this call and knowing that you could have said no and you didn't, but also just taking the time to even get on the phone call. And that's what this business is about, is stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I can't, like, me thinking about that and thinking about you new to the business and going to this completely random place, completely not knowing what it is, and just trusting that you're going to the place that you're supposed to go, and you did it. And I think that is amazing. So good for you. That is just makes me very happy. So nice job. I sometimes get worried sometimes going to some of them, and I've been in for 7 years. So I'm excited for you. This is great. It's going to be great, great, great stuff for you. So, and good. And kudos to Tanya for sticking with you after you were kind of like, I don't know. And, you know, we sometimes feel like we're bothering people, but we also know that in the end, how we can get people signed up into the business that need it, we just have to keep contacting them and seeing when it's that right time. So I think kudos to you and kudos to Tanya for sticking with you and just knowing and believing in you that you would see it sooner or later, and you did. And so that's fabulous. So nice job to both of you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tanya.
You're welcome. I love you. Good job.
Those were amazing takeaways. Yeah, those were so good. Really good takeaways. That was pure gold. So thank you, Amy. Loved it. So this past weekend, I got to be here in Sioux Falls. It was so much fun because I get to be around a ton of our upline, right? Which is always just filled with so much love. And we got to see Corey Ray, who is a Pro 9 in the business, and he came in the beginning. And he was probably one of my favorites. Just such a beautiful soul with a phenomenal story. But we'll go to Nikki first and have her talk about some of her takeaways from listening to Corey this past weekend.
Well, I was laughing because as we were listening today, I was telling you guys that, or the other day, I was telling you I've been in the business 7 years. And one of the first few elite academies that I went to was in Anaheim. And we're going back there in a month. So hopefully I'll see all of you in Anaheim. But Corey Ray, that was like the first time I met him, and he was talking about what happened, and a waiter came by, spilled all their drinks and food on Michelle Poe's foot, And he was over there wiping it off. And I'm like, I have that picture somewhere. And it just blows my mind when you look back at that and see, you know, just being nice. He had no idea who we were, that we invited him in and just said, hey, come sit with us, as we had a whole group of people. And it's just, that's the atmosphere. And just like Amy, what you were talking about, just what you were saying, Tish, too, it's like the feeling you get from people that are involved in the business, and just like Tanya said, is amazing. And you just feel very welcomed. I feel also that with Corey Ray here, it was similar to Sam Flake, where I feel like they're both kind of similar personalities and just go with the flow and just chilled out, but having huge points. He didn't use a PowerPoint. He didn't use anything except for a whiteboard and a magic marker and a towel. And then he had his phone, and he would look through and find some things that he wanted on there. And Amy, just like you, I'm going to look at my notes as well, because I have to make sure I stay on point, right? One of my favorite things, because as we're working with people and trying to set goals, oftentimes we all think I want to be a Pro 2 by this month. I want to get 5 new distributors. I want to have this. And that's a very difficult thing to do in that sense. And it sets you up for some disappointment. And so I think a real good learning lesson this weekend was saying, you know, what is your action or your behavior, and how are you going to set goals based on your action and behavior? So as long as I'm consistently working every day and doing and checking off the things I want to, that other stuff will happen. But it's not going to happen if I, you know, am not doing the daily consistent information or daily consistent actions. And so I thought that was a really, really good point that he brought up right away. And, you know, looking at not being needy, I think sometimes as we're going through or trying, we have in our head, like if you're trying to rank advance and you're almost there, you don't want people to feel that you need it more than they do. Remember, there'll be other people that we can talk to. And there is very small percentage of people that actually take this and run. And so when we know that we just have to get through our list and keep going, and it's okay to get no's and not to be disappointed. Like he did a thing where he was like, something about somebody said no, and he's like, all right, awesome, all right, see you later, I got more people to prospect. Like he's just jacked up and excited because he knows that he can go on and find other people that are sitting there going, oh, you know what, that's exactly what I needed. And so I think that's a good point to point out too, and it goes so well with that first one on your actions and behaviors. He pointed out a few things too related to getting their, you know, pulling on their heartstrings. Tell them the story. You know, like Tish did an amazing job of that already today, pulling on our heartstrings about freedom. And I am sitting here telling you that freedom is the best thing ever. I have been jobless for, let's see, June 25th, 2014, 4 years, and June 25th, so it's almost my anniversary of handing over my pager and saying, see you later, to the hospital. And that's been an amazing change, and just doing LifeVantage and then helping other people have that freedom. And that, you know, the money's great, the friendships are great, the freedom's great, but when you look at that freedom, nobody has that. When you look around, that is something that is so precious and so limited. People have it on Saturday and Sunday sometimes. And the other times you're always kind of that slave to whatever's going on. And so, yeah, absolutely. That's a huge, huge thing. So tying onto their heartstrings, giving them a reason, and then sharing our information, sharing the ABC information, sharing the income disclosure sheet. And he said, which I thought was interesting, because he helped to make up their mind for them, like going through the income disclosure sheet and saying, hey, well, where do you want to be? Put your hand down the list, and where do you want to be with this business? And oftentimes people stop at that about $500 a month spot. And then he goes, all right, circle that. I want you to show it to the person that brought you here. And then we're going to sit down and figure out a way to get you to that point. So he's basically making up the mind for that person without really saying it, but saying, all right, you know, let's do it. If you want to do the business, let's get you where you need to be. And I thought that was pretty awesome. I do something similar when I'm looking at customers, when I'm talking to them. Like if I was prospecting Tanya, I'd say, okay, Tanya, now before you get started on taking the Nerf 2 and the other products, I want you to make a little list of what, you know, what things are bothering you right now. So I talk to them just like they're going to already be a customer. And he took it one step further and went in the sense of what you're going to be talking to them as a distributor. So super good stuff. And I feel like it was probably one of our simplest presentations, but it hit home the most for me.
Yeah.
And I had no trouble paying attention, and I usually do for 4 hours. I mean, I can't hold my attention that long. For others that know me, that's just the way it is. But I was listening and right spot on with him the whole entire time. So I won't take all the good ones. I'll leave some for Tanya. Otherwise, I'm like, and then I'll leave the rest to you. Over to you, Tanya.
I thought it was amazing, you guys, that he did the whole thing with just a whiteboard. He didn't have the PowerPoint, and I agree. It was so refreshing. He was just a friend on stage talking to us about the reality of the business. Now, the beautiful thing for me came in the lunch afterwards. So I was torn, like, because he looked at me at one point at the end of on stage when he found out that the leads were up front, and he said, "Are you going to go to lunch?" And I looked at him and I was like, because I'm in town and I want to spend time with my family. And after I did it, like, I was just like inside, I'm like, do I go or don't I go? I know my family's waiting for me, or do I go to lunch? And I literally text my husband and I'm like, tell me what to do. What do I do? Do I go to lunch or do I get back with the family? And he talked me through it, and I went to lunch. And I'm so glad I did. And Corey talked about, when he got into the business, it was an easy system. They had one product and one video. That's all they had, right? They didn't even have an income earning statement at that time. And so how grateful we should be for the tools that we have today. But there came a point in his business where he had people that left. Corey Ray was under the Delaney's, and the Delaney's chose to leave LifeVantage and go to another business, okay? And Corey Ray had a partner at one time in this business. They shared the business together. And Corey found himself in a situation where his partner chose to leave, unbeknownst to Corey. And he basically got caught by the company. And for 5 days, Corey's account with LifeVantage was frozen. And he was on his family vacation when he found this out. And he said it was the longest 5 days of my life. But he stayed. His upline left, his partner left, but he stayed. He stayed with LifeVantage. Then he had a series of events in his life occur where he lost a good friend. He got really sick, and it caused him to miss some elite academies. But he stayed. And now here he is today, a Pro 9, and he's still out sharing. And you can tell he just loves this company, and he loves these people. And the fact that he didn't choose to leave, but he stayed the course, like, that is what we attract in this company. The people that stay and the people that love us just truly represent the kind of people that we have. So one thing I love that he said, have urgency in the business with patience. He said, have patience with your growth, but have your urgency high and be patient with your results. If you're just looking at your results, you may doubt this business. And he had no qualms in saying, look, this business is hard and it's frustrating. Vicky's face. This business is, it's hard, it's frustrating. You're going to doubt it. You're going to question if this is the right place. You might sometimes, another company may have be a shiny object for you, but that's why you have to keep showing up to these calls, to the events, anything that you can go to remind you of what we have our hands on. And he said too, when things aren't easy or times are tough, have the mindset of, I'm going through this because I'm about to help a lot more people. Isn't that amazing? Mm-hmm. I love that. Mm-hmm. Like, those difficult times, those are your tests. And those are your tests to either make you weaker or make you stronger. And you have to make that choice to allow it to make you stronger, because it adds to your story. And it becomes that story that you're going to continue to share with other people and new prospects. And they're going to be people that come to you and be like, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Your story completely aligns with mine. The story you have today is going to affect a lot of people, but it's a story you continue to build upon that's going to affect more people. So yeah, that's what I had, and I just loved him. I thought it was really great. Anything else?
Yeah, I have one other thing I wanted to say, because sometimes you run into people that have done this before and they say, you know, oh, it didn't work. I've done that before. It didn't work. I feel like it's pouring rain. You have your car windows up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Distraction. Speaking of shiny objects, I'm like, wait a second, what's that noise? But anyway, so we run into people that have said, oh, yeah, I've done that before. Is this network marketing? It doesn't work, right? And then what do? Right? I think that's funny. Vicky's like mirroring my I was like all crinkling and she crinkled. She crinkled her schnoz at the same time I was thinking. Okay. So he said, well, these are great things to say back. Like Amy, you said, why am I talking? My favorite thing I had to put on my desk, wait. So just write wait on a piece of paper. Why am I talking? That helps us to be like, to leave the empty space. But anyway, I got distracted. But what we don't know what to do. And I've learned from other people saying, you know what, whoever's asking the question is in control of the conversation. And so when someone says to you, oh, I've done this before, it doesn't work. Is this network marketing? And then instead of freaking out and trying to come up with something, you say, oh, well, you know, that's great. You've done this before. But can I ask you a couple questions about your experience? Well, did you have a support system, like people that were there to support you? Did they have, you know, research-based, scientifically validated products that you consumed and had to keep consuming or purchase to be able to consume? Did they have a proven system for success and how to get there? Did they, heck, you could even say, did they have an ABC investigative report proving and showing you how awesome this is? So there's so much you can say, and leave that time for them to answer. Even if it takes them a minute, sometimes when we leave that empty space, that makes them sit in the muck and have them go, oh gosh, no, I didn't have that support, and you guys are nice and I like it here. It's a warm fuzzy feeling or whatever. So that's the last thing I wanted to add in, because I thought that was really good. And I know Tanya's been in the business forever. I've been in the business forever. And I seriously don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. So it's always those little nuggets. Even when we go and we think we've heard it all before, something always happens. Somebody throws some crazy thing in, you go, oh my gosh, that's a great nugget. I need to write that down. So I loved that part too.
We're always in different seasons of life, right? So we're always going to hear something different. You're going to hear something you heard 3, 4, a month ago, and it's going to come off completely different at another time when it comes from a different person because of where you're at in your life. Mm-hmm. So always, always show up as much as you possibly can. I also want to, I'm going to end the recording. I wanted to give a shout out to, did I stop the recording? Nope.